Okay, here we go. Welcome to the 2017 referee information video for the Directors Cup and for U18 State Cup. Hopefully we can get through all of this in less than 30 minutes. I've also posted much of what I'm going to discuss on Arbiter on the homepage under the announcement section. So please make sure you have looked at that and read that prior to getting to the tournament. You'll also need to log in to the Swissfer group of Arbiter in order to properly view your schedule and certainly to print your schedule. So while you're logged in checking that all out, make sure you read the announcements. If anything comes up later this week after this video has been completed, which is on Monday afternoon, I will post it on Arbiter. So please make sure you are checking that out throughout the week. And with that, let's go ahead and get started with the presentation and get through this so you all can get on with other things you have to do this week. A few announcements. This will help everybody get through the weekend and make sure we have a smooth performance from all of their referees. You'll probably want to take down my cell phone number. If there are any problems, it could be a problem in a field, it could be a problem in traffic, it could be a lot of things, and you need to get a hold of me, please have my cell phone number with you. My cell phone number is also printed at the top of your schedule when you actually print it out. So if you do that, then you will also have a copy of it there. I'll leave it here just a couple of seconds longer to make sure everyone has a chance to get it. Okay. Please print your schedule. There are lots of reasons for this. It really helps to make sure you get to the correct field for your game. We are running 29 fields at Simplot this weekend, and it might end up being a little confusing. So you need to know, particularly whether it's a north or a south field. It's an A field or not an A field. So please print your schedule. It also helps when you come to check in at the referee tent. And that referee tent's going to be above field 5. So if you have your schedule, you can come up and we might have 100 referees trying to check in at 8 o'clock in the morning, or at 7 o'clock in the morning, I should say. And the faster we get through that, the better. If you have your schedule printed out, you can actually tell me, I'm checking in for field 5, and off we go. Okay? Please print and read the rules of competition for the particular games you are doing. It amazes me that tournament after tournament, referees actually show up to do a game and have not read the local rules of competition. How can you possibly referee a match if you don't know the rules to apply to that game? Referees are constantly coming to the referee tent and asking 5 minutes before the start of a game, oh, can I read the rules? Folks, that's unacceptable. You are professional referees. You need to start acting like it. Okay? Proper referee dress is very important, particularly at tournaments. So you have an up-to-date, the current or the previous referee jersey. You have referee's black shorts. You have the proper referee socks and primarily black shoes. Now, if you are walking around to your game, coming back from your game, and certainly while you're reffing your game, your referee jersey better be tucked in. There is nothing sloppier looking than a referee with an untucked jersey. That's our expectation. Please make sure your jersey is tucked in and stays tucked in. If you are watching a game please make sure you either take off your referee jersey or that you have covered it up with your jacket or your pullover, whatever you're wearing. You should not be wandering around, walking around sim plot, watching games with the referee jersey on. Okay, if you're sitting in the referee tent, it's okay. Yeah, you can do that. But once you leave that referee tent, make sure you're in proper dress if you're going to a game or coming back from a game. Otherwise, dress down. As I said, we have 29 fields going at Simplot. Do the math. How many people that's going to be, say, at 8 o'clock in the morning. Better allow extra time to make sure you can get a parking space and that you have plenty of time to get from your car to the referee tent to check in on time. Okay? You've been warned. Please take this under consideration and allow extra travel time. I expect traffic to get backed up quite a bit trying to get into Simplot. Okay? All right. Substitution rules for this tournament are very, very simple. Any stoppage of play at the referee's discretion. That means either team can substitute any stoppage. Is a corner kick a stoppage? Yes. Is a foul a stoppage? Yes. You stop the game because there's a loose dog on the field? Is that a stoppage? Yes. But again, it's at your discretion. You don't have to allow it. All right? So just keep that in mind. But be reasonable. Most of these teams are younger teams. We want to make this fun and fair for everybody. So just keep that in mind when it comes to substitutions. Stoppage time. Like a lot of tournaments these days, there is no stoppage time at Directors Cup. Now, State Cup games, you're doing a U18 State Cup game, yes, there's stoppage time, and you need to allow for that. But as far as Directors Cup is concerned, no stoppage time. If you have the unfortunate event of a serious injury, where there is a long delay in treating a player, perhaps an ambulance has to be called to the field, let us know, get a hold of the field marshal. We'll already know because the medical staff will know, the tournament administration will know. It's up to them as to whether they're going to allow stoppage time, perhaps move the game to another field, come up with some other solution. It's not a referee decision. If you have the serious injury, note on your clock when it occurred, so you know how much time is left in the half when the injury occurred and you had to stop play. Then you will have that information. You can provide it and they'll determine what to do. But it's not up to you to make that determination. Okay? If you have any questions on this, please ask. Heading. As most of you know, we have gone to no heading allowed in the U10, U11, and U12 divisions. All right? This applies to deliberate heading, not an unintentional heading. So, if you have a deliberate header, you award an indirect free kick to the opposing team. Now, if it happens to have occurred in the goal area, you bring the ball out to the 6-yard line, closest point to where the foul occurred. All right? If it's not deliberate, continue play. Don't blow your whistle. Nothing has happened. If somebody asks you, just say, in my judgment, it was not deliberate. It's that simple. Okay? Punting. This is goalkeeper punting. U10 division is no longer allowed. All right? So, if a keeper wants to punt the ball out, the restart is never put the ball back in play. Technically it's still in play because he's holding it, but just have him throw the ball out. All right? Let him have a redo on that. Check-in. Okay, this is a major issue. And this is an issue where referees test me almost every single tournament. It's not a good idea. Check-in is 45 minutes before your first game. Keep in mind, particularly the first games of the day, there could be 100 referees there. It takes a while to get you through check-in. So please make sure you're there in plenty of time. One of the other big reasons for a 45-minute check-in is we need to replace you if you're not there, and that takes some time. You also need to conduct a proper pregame with your referee crew. And if one member of the crew isn't there, it's pretty hard to do an effective pregame. So everybody needs to get there. Also, please note, you should not check in and then wander off to your field. The idea of check-in is to get you to the referee tent so that you can meet up with your entire crew and then go off together as a crew to your game. Now, this may be a new concept to some of the younger referees who generally don't have a crew on their game, but that's what we want. So please do not just wander off by yourself and then just show up at the field. Please wait for your entire crew. If members of your crew are already on another game, I will let you know so that you can go join them or let you know they're going to have time, they're coming back, and you can meet them at the referee tent. Okay? 45 minutes before your first game, please. If you have multiple games, yes, you get to check in for multiple games in a row. So if you have 2 games in a row, you can check in for both of those games. If you have a break between that, then you need to come back to the referee tent 30 minutes before subsequent games and check in at that point. You're not going to check in for all your games at once. If they're spread throughout the day, come into the referee tent once. And the reason should be obvious if we want you to meet up with your referee crew and do proper pre-games. So, there you go. I keep a chart, as most of you who have worked tournaments know, and that's my pay sheet. So if you have not checked in, I can't pay you. So you need to make sure you're there, checked in, and accounted for. Also, if you haven't checked in, you may be there, but I'm looking to replace you. And if I do replace you, you're just off the game because you haven't checked in. Okay? So let's make sure you get checked in on time. When you are checking in your teams, each team will give you a roster with an approval stamp on it. These are required. If a team does not have a roster, get a hold of a field marshal because that needs to be resolved with the tournament prior to the game starting. All right? So make sure you have a roster. I do not need the rosters back after the game. Those are for you. You do whatever you want with them. Player cards at this tournament are not required. You have approved IYSA rosters. So if you have discipline in your game, you will have the roster from which you can fill out the information on the misconduct report. Yes, you must do a misconduct report. You must return to the referee tent and do it for every single misconduct. Yellows and reds, coach dismissals. Please start all games on time. Games are narrowly scheduled. They're really tight. So if we start a game out late, early in the morning, it cascades throughout the day and it can be a problem. I know it's hard, particularly with the younger age teams, to corral them and get them out on the field. But that's what we need you to do. So you're going to also have to end the games on time, which, if you start on time, shouldn't be a problem. Since there's no stoppage time, shouldn't be a problem. Okay? Again, we said no stoppage time. Semifinals and finals, there's no overtime. Those games go straight to kicks from the mark. So if you are assigned to one of those games, make sure you have reviewed the proper procedure for conducting kicks from the mark. There are good videos available on U.S. Soccer on this and also elsewhere on the internet. So you may, even at the U10 level, have to conduct kicks from the mark, so make sure you're up on the procedure. If you have questions, please ask at the referee tent. Okay, for those of you who have been around a while, most of you know what this means. This actually has become a huge, it's been a huge problem in Idaho for a long, long time. And that's the issue of incorrect scores. I have tried every way I possibly can to let you know how important this is. I have now done over 60 tournaments where I have been the assigner in Idaho. And not one tournament have the referees turned in 100% accurate game scores. That's shocking to me that it continues to happen. We made an issue of this again, humorously, before Performance Cup. We didn't get past Friday night without the first incorrect score, and there were others after that. This past week, we had the Rush Select Classic. First night, multiple incorrect scores being turned in. I don't know. It's become a real problem. We've tried to give you the tools, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it, and there's not going to be any humor on it this time. If you turn in an incorrect score, the entire team is not going to be paid because you haven't done your job. I've said this was coming, and now it's here. Okay? So, your job, make sure you get it correct. And here are the tools that we give you to make sure that happens. As most of you know, the tournaments that we do, you get a blue game card when you check in if you are the center referee. This is basically what it looks like. So, make sure if you're the center that you get your blue game card before you leave the tent, because this is the item you must turn back in at the end of the game with the correct score on it. Okay? I don't need the names on the bottom. Doesn't matter. I know who the crew is. Easy enough to figure out. But here are some things you can do to help you make sure that you enter the correct score. We give you a white label in the upper left-hand corner of your game card. When I hand it to you, please double check that I have given you the game card for the proper time and field. Occasionally, cards get stuck together, things get rushed there, and I may hand out an incorrect card. It does happen. I know it happens. So please double check when you get your game card. Okay? We'll also have the duration of each half on the label. Doesn't show here, but it will be on the labels we use for this tournament. And that will help you make sure you run the correct length of game. So, once you have that and you're checking in your teams, what can you do? Well, write down the colors of their jersey in the space provided. This may not make a big difference at the time, although it should help you when you're recording scores. But afterwards, if we have a question about a game, we can always remember, was it the red team, was it the white team? Because people tend to remember that. There are too many teams with very similar names. They may not actually recall by name, team name, and here's a good way to do it. So here we have a white team, and here we have a red team. So add that information. It will help you. Next, big numbers in the boxes provided for the final score. I don't need chicken scratch. I don't need Roman numerals. Big Arabic numerals that everybody can read. So no one has to try to decipher what the score was. Make sure they're legible. Finally, if you have a winner, circle the name of the winner on the white label. By doing this, if you take your time and just not do it as a matter of scribble, you will note, oh, I made a mistake. Let's fix the score because that's not right. It's just another way to confirm, yes, I have the correct team winning, and I have the score correct. Happens all the time. Score's reversed. Don't know why, but it happens. So here's a good way to make sure that you have it correct. You should also meet with your referee team. And every game in this tournament has a full referee crew. So meet with your team. Get their confirmation. Yes, we have in this case a 2-1 score. Reno Spark United was the winner. Okay, I can circle that one, and we all agree that we have the correct score. If you do all those things, I'm pretty sure you're going to turn in the right score. Okay? So let's see what we can do there. Pre-game conference. I actually made a big issue about this for Performance Cup, and I was really shocked how few referee teams actually conducted a pre-game conference at Performance Cup. I saw virtually none, less than half a dozen, conducted in the referee tent where I was. I know that some were done at the field, and I'm fine with that. I don't care where you do them. But there weren't many done in the referee tent. And I talked to Steve over at Nova, and he tells me, yeah, there were virtually no pregame conferences. Now, I know a lot of you are used to working games as a single referee, and you can't have a pregame conference with yourself very easily. So here's a chance to practice something. And that is our expectation. It's a very important that the entire referee crew is on the same page. So let's make sure you are conducting a proper pregame conference. Here are some other general observations that I have on things that need to be worked on by referees, particularly the younger referees, the newer referees who are working the small-sided games. So keep in mind that it's really important that you get out of the center circle. You got to get closer to play. Recently, in the last couple of tournaments, I've seen way too many referees that are 30, 35 yards away from a play. It's very difficult to make calls from that distance. If you have to make a penalty kick call and you're 25, 30 yards away from where it happened, you're going to have a really tough time selling that call that you were in a good position to make it. So let's really work hard at staying closer to play. Use your assistant referees to help you, but you really have to show a little more hustle and get closer to what's going on. And that means you have to, excuse me, you have to sprint when needed. You know, I've seen a lot of referees that there's a lot of walking around, and there's a time for that. But there's a time when you have to sprint to make sure you're staying close to play so that you can make the right call. The other thing, you're in charge. You're the referee. Control your substitutions. If you control your substitutions, you are sending a signal to everybody. Hey, I know what I'm doing. I'm in control here. And your credibility rises as a result of that. We shouldn't see, a whole bunch of players suddenly running on the field when the other players haven't gotten off the field. Sometimes that means one gets to come on at a time, or a whole bunch are leaving. Make sure they all get off the field before you beckon them on. Make sure the right number of players are coming on the field at that point. So this will help you control your substitutions. If you have an injury, and it happens a lot, I know that, particularly at those younger ages, run over there quickly to the injured player and assess them. Is it just a temporary thing where they're going to want to continue playing, or do you need to beckon the coach on? Don't walk over very slowly to check on the player. Show some concern, and you do that by hustling over to where the player is and taking charge of the situation. Also, as you get older, you'll then be in position to make sure there's no retaliation, no mass confrontations, or anything like that. So you got to develop those good habits now. So move quickly. And finally, a couple of things to make sure. Please have your sunscreen. Every year, referees show up at this tournament without sunscreen and they get badly burned. It's that time of year. It may be cool, but yes, this is an issue. So make sure you have it, make sure you apply it, and make sure you reapply it during the day. Please bring a water bottle with you. We will have the big jugs, 5-gallon jugs for water and probably Gatorade, but we're not going to have any individual bottles for you to take with you out to the field. So bring a water bottle, refill it as needed. Otherwise, you're going to be over at the concession stand buying expensive bottled water. Okay? Food. In the referee tent, we will have morning food like bagels and cream cheese, peanut butter, and usually bananas, sometimes apples and oranges. Other kinds of granola bars, snack foods like that. Don't know exactly what. IYSA provides that for us, and so you'll have that. At lunchtime, generally they provide either sandwiches or pizza. It goes pretty fast, so you usually need to be around the referee tent around the noontime in order to get that. Otherwise, I suggest you bring a lunch with you, a snack with you, or be prepared to purchase your food from the local food trucks that'll be there. And I don't know what they'll be. Haven't been told. So, and finally, this tournament is supposed to be fun for the players and the coaches. It's a year-end tournament, and IYSA's directive is, hey, everybody should have fun. Well, that should include the referees too. So, let's make sure you have fun. And that should just about wrap it up. I know I'm going to have fun. I'm looking forward to seeing each and every one of you beginning Friday. We have a small set of games Friday night for Directors Cup, and we also have State Cup games. If you're not working, and we have a game going on, come on out. Watch some experienced ref work those U18 State Cup games. They should be very good games. And overall, looking forward for a very busy, but a very fun weekend. And if you have any questions throughout the week, please shoot me an email or a text. I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can. And if anything important comes up, I will shoot out email when it happens. So please continue to monitor your email throughout the week for additional important announcements. And with that, we will wrap this up and see you all on Friday. Have a good week, everybody.